Hey up everyone, welcome to the Rugby League History channel. Tonight I'll be talking about the New South Wales media and how I believe they have blood on their hands over the State of Origin fiasco which happened the other night, and how in the past they've had blood on their hands in other situations. Before I get into the video though, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, make sure that you do so. I'm up to 346 subscribers, trying to get to 350 by the end of November. I'm getting dead close. I need far more to get to 350, so if you watch my videos but you haven't yet subscribed, make sure that you're subscribed. Getting back to this talk about the New South Wales media, once again they put their foot in it, and they went out before the series began and said that this New South Wales team was the worst ever. And then Paul Gallen had his say, and look, I don't watch State of Origin, I don't follow it anymore, but I was checking through Fox League like I do, looking for ideas, all that keeper, and then it comes up about a week out from the game, Paul Gallen's mouthing off saying, oh, this is one of the worst Queensland teams ever. And then you had the article before the series began from Dean Ritchie from the Daily Telegraph talking about Queensland worst team ever, and I looked at it and I went, you know what, New South Wales isn't going to win this series. And when Paul Gallen started mouthing off before game 3, I went, New South Wales isn't going to win game 3, not now, no fucking chance of winning it now, not after they've mouthed off like that. And I thought to myself, doesn't the New South Wales media ever learn? I mean, this has been a common theme over the last 40 years where they've blown their trumpet too early, they've mouthed off, and it's come back to bite them, and they just seem to never learn. And I'll go back through 3 or 4 examples in the past where they've done so. So the first one, of course, was the original inaugural State of Origin in 1980. Now, before the series even began, before the games even began, the New South Wales media, they called this State of Origin game the non-event of the century. That was Bob Fulton that said that. And they also called it the 3-game wonder. They said it wouldn't take off. They were highly critical of it. They said it wasn't going to prove now, and Queensland ended up winning that series quite comfortably. We go forward to 1995. I was living in Queensland at the time, and I remember that whole series, the New South Wales media just kept bringing up the notion that this 1995 team was a bunch of nobodies. They weren't going to win. New South Wales had the superior side, and Paul Vartan was the coach. It was his first ever coaching job, you could say. This 1995 side, I will admit, compared to all the other Queensland sides, was probably the weakest. It was even weaker than the one that come out in this series. But Queensland went out and they won that, and then they ended up calling themselves, I think, Neville's Nobodies, or they had some sort of nickname attached to that. There was also 2015. Now, New South Wales were in a chance to win 2015. They were in a chance to go back to back. Now, I was living in Sydney at the time, and I remember it was coming up to game 3, and 60 Minutes and the New South Wales media decided to release this story about Alex McKinnon attacking Cameron Smith just about 2 or 3 days out from the last State of Origin game of the series, the decider in Brisbane. Now, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you attack one of the Queensland legends, see all this type of stuff on 60 Minutes, see all this type of stuff in the media on the eve of a decider away from home? I mean, I just think that's fucking daft. I remember I think I was working in the hospital system at the time, and I was reading the paper and I went, well, that just ended New South Wales' chances of winning that game, because they're not going to fucking win the game after they did that. And when Queensland went out, they went out like I don't know, they were possessed by the devil, or they were on speed or something. I mean, even after they won the match, they said that 60 Minutes report partly inspired them to do what they did. And they recorded, I think, their biggest win over New South Wales ever. Then in 2017, New South Wales won the game comfortably, game 1. It was a very impressive performance, actually. I remember reading about it, and I think Jared Ian and all them, they had a great game. Now, after game 1, I remember I was going to work, and I pick up the paper and I'm reading, and it says on the back page, it says, this is the start of the New South Wales dynasty. this is the start of our domination. And Queensland, thanks very much for coming. You may as well surrender for game 2 and game 3. You're not going to win now. We've already got the series tied up, and I'm thinking, fuck's sake. I mean, once again, it's one of those things where the New South Wales media hasn't learned that whatever they write, Queensland and the players are going to read that, and they're going to respond in kind. So in game 2 and game 3 of that series, Queensland come out and won the series. I mean, really, they shouldn't have won game 2. New South Wales were up 16-0, I think, at one point, but I mean, those type of articles spur Queensland on. And then going into this year, fucking Dean Ritchie writes the article, says that it's the worst Queensland team ever, and then you get loudmouth Paul Gallen spouting off and talking shite, and I went, they're not going to fucking win. I mean, it's just daft that the New South Wales media doesn't learn. Now, surely after this series, they have to think to themselves, maybe we should be more like the Queensland media, where I've lived in Queensland the whole time I lived there. Look, sometimes New South Wales didn't win, sometimes they didn't have the best side, but nobody in the Queensland media ever come out and attacked New South Wales or the players. They always win in every game, respecting the opponent, respecting the opposition. New South Wales in the media, well, I'm not seeing the players, but the media, they don't respect the Queensland side, I think, and these type of stories are more harmful than anything. And not only does it make the team suffer, it also makes the fans look bad, because people in Queensland probably think that the New South Wales public feel the same way, when most of the time they don't. It's the media. Now, I also think that, look, if this was back in medieval times, Dean Ritchie would be dragged through the streets, hung, drawn and quartered, and his head would have been stuck on top of London Bridge. But we're in 2020, unfortunately that can happen. And as for Paul Gallen, I think there should be something in his contract which says you just stay the fuck away from State of Origin. When it's on, get the fuck out, don't see it out, go with your family somewhere, just stay away. Don't fucking see it out, because all you do is just make New South Wales look like a laughing stock, and you see some really daft stuff, and you should just stay the fuck away. The rest of the year you can be as biased as you want for Cronulla, you can do this and that and all that keeper, but when Origin's on, you're not allowed anywhere near Channel 9 premises. So anyways, that's my video on the New South Wales media and how they'll never learn, I think, when it comes to State of Origin. I've lived on both sides of you can see the border. I've lived in Queensland, I've lived in New South Wales. There's a big difference when it comes to the media and how they conduct themselves and how they report things. But anyways, let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of the New South Wales media, especially when it comes to State of Origin time. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like it. And if you have not yet subscribed, make sure that you subscribe. I'm up to 346 subscribers, trying to get the 350. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. The Wigan and Hull FC game starts soon. Really looking forward to that, and hope you all enjoy your Friday. So I'll catch us all later. Alright, tatty bye.